Welcome back to another episode of the MLT Student Interviews, and this one was a blast. I did start it off super awkward, that's on me, but the content in this one and the story from this individual is absolutely unreal. From trading penny stocks and not liking it and saying, hey, I'm not going to trade anymore, to losing $100,000 in the SPX, to then taking the MLT mentorship, and in just less than a year, having some insane success, making back all the money in which they lost in the previous years of trying to trade unsuccessful, and even dabbling in like the Indian market, and it was cool. It was great. So I hope you guys enjoy this video. There's links and all those things in the description below. Give me a thumbs up on this video, subscribe if you enjoy it, and comment and let me know who in the MLT community we should have on next. Enjoy. All right, guys, welcome back to the channel here. I am sitting with Mr. Angad, that way, from California, and we've been chatting for a couple minutes here, getting into some things, and we'll start talking some trading, some software development. You guys have maybe even used some of the things in which the products he's developed over the years, and just looking to interview him on where he got started. It's a really cool story. So I'll let you take it away from there, introduce yourself, and start spitting some game.
Yeah, sounds good. Well, hi guys. My name is Angad Manchanda, and I'm so happy to be here, Eric. So thank you for that, first of all.
Thank you for coming on.
So yeah, absolutely. My pleasure. So I've been trading for about 2.5 years, really. Was just more into like software development starting like 2008. That was my whole career, really, like software engineer, investor as well, long-term investor. Started investing in like 2013, I believe. That's when I bought my Tesla and even Bitcoin.
Nice.
Yeah, I was always a crypto investor as well.
You still hold the Bitcoin?
I have a lot of Bitcoin. Yes, I'm holding a lot. Yes, I have
it.
Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah, it's pretty low. Like all the cost that I actually bought it was like pretty low. So I still have it.
A casual couple $1,000% on it.
1,000%, yeah. Yeah, on Bitcoin, Solana, and other things. So, but I definitely, so I started trading about 2.5 years ago. Didn't know a thing about trading, how to do it, right? Of course, like I think like every other person out there, lost a lot of money in the first year and a half, and I had no mentor. I didn't spend any money on the mentor, which was a big mistake, which we can talk about later. And then, yeah, that's just who I am, really. Live in San Diego, California. I have a beautiful wife, 2 beautiful huskies, and just loving my life so far.
Very nice. And so we were talking about it. So give us some backstory, because you're not, I mean, you live in the US now, but that's not where you're from.
Yeah.
And kind of what that journey looked like in terms of, some motivations and things on coming over here, and all that.
Yeah, absolutely. So I am originally from India. I moved to the US in 2008. I had an undergrad in computer science, and I came here to do my master's, just, another higher level of degree, right? And I was always trying to, I don't know, when I was like younger, right? I was just trying to like come to the US or just like another abroad country, just to be a little bit more independent and just to do what I really want. My family is all back in India. They're good, I just wanted to just do something on my own, right? So that was like 2008. Got here, San Diego State University. I was just like doing my master's in computer science, and at the same time, I was also working at a couple of gas stations, 7-Elevens, doing all that graveyard night shift, which I have a crazy story about as well.
Any robberies?
I was dropped like one time, yes. At
Yes.
7. Yes. And back then also I did not have big guns. Right? Now I do, but I don't think I can still do anything about it, right? So,
it's not the same.
Right. So yeah, that was it. I worked for a couple of gas stations, 7-Eleven, I think for 4 years, or for like 3 years or something like that. Then I got my master's done. It started my first software engineering job in the US. I think that was I forgot a company, but it was like a small company, like a startup. And then just kind of like built my way from there, really working for like these different companies as a software engineer, especially specializing in application development, iOS, Android, like literally from scratch, right? Built a lot of these different apps from scratch. And that's what I was just doing and just investing at the same time. Didn't know a thing about trading, but just investing based on, hey, the price looks cheap. Let's buy it. So without any technical knowledge of how charts work, of course, took a look at the charts, but just didn't know how charts work, right? Which we can talk about it further, how I learned about that. So yeah, that was my, I guess, motivation just to come here, just to be independent, really, just to like do something on my own.
Okay. Very
Yeah.
nice. It's worked out obviously pretty well.
Uh, so far so good. No complaints.
So I want to go back though, like what got you into, so I've never been to India. But I have some, sounds bad. I have some Indian friends and like neighbors. So like
Oh, nice.
I see their cultures and things like that. And like you said, that's very, connected, like multi-generational in a house.
Yeah.
Um, but what, and I'm just trying to figure out like what got you into computers, and like what did your parents have an interest in computers and software development, or was it the area in which you lived in, the school? Like how'd you get, because
Right.
yeah, I don't know. I don't me for so to put it in perspective for me, my classes were either like farm classes or like woodworking and things like that. So we didn't have the ability to like code or do any of that stuff. So I'm trying to figure out like what did that
Right.
look like for you growing up?
Right. I think it's kind of funny since you say that because I usually joke about it, like I was like, okay, well, I was like every Indian in the US is either a software engineer or he's a doctor, which usually is true for the most part. And I kind of joke about it, like being Indian. I'm like, you know what? That's what I've seen a lot, right? Really, it's just how our culture is. Like back in India, is everybody's, in my, especially in my family and my friends or whatever you can call it, right? It's just everybody either wants to become a doctor or wants to become an engineer. Like I'm not saying that we are not given any choices, but those are the really options that we see people doing really good at. Like when I looked up to my peeps who were obviously like older to me, and they were like engineers and they were making good money, and I guess we didn't really get into, like, I was like really good at sports too, but
Okay.
it's just like the families in India are a little different. They kind of, I don't want to say pressure, but somewhat. Well, so you only have two options. Either you're going to become an engineer or you're going to become a doctor. Just choose one. I'm like, you know what? I don't think I can operate on bodies. I'll just operate on code. So I'll just become an engineer. So always but also has an interest in computers from day one, really from, I was like 8 years old, just, play with like computers, hardware, software, and just do that really. And just kind of, and I'm happy that I did that because it's good. I mean, it's good,
Okay.
like, yeah, like you build at the end of the day, like you're basically building a product now to solve customer needs and impacting like so many different customers or clients and basically help them. That's good.
Okay. I like that. Do you
Yeah, thanks.
see, so to take into consideration what you do from a coding, programming, engineering standpoint, did that, does that play any role in your trading? Like, have you found any, so you know how I like to think in terms of analogies, right? So this is a new field for me, I
Yeah.
haven't interviewed a software engineer before. So it's like, what things can you correlate and relate to trading from that side?
Absolutely. One thing that I can relate with is numbers.
Okay.
I am always good with numbers. I was always good with numbers from day one. And, computer science, mathematics, usually because we do a lot of like mathematics problems in computer science. Like generally you're solving like problems using these different algorithms, right? And everything, we do use like a lot of math, right? So I was pretty good at numbers, right? And I think in the stock market world, I think it is to some extent it's a game of numbers, right? Like because you're always looking at the return on investment, ROIs, right? So I'm
Hmm.
pretty big on ROI. That's why I was always into investing. Hey, okay, I can make like 30%, I can make this much, and so I was always good with that.
Okay.
Never good with charts because I don't know how to read them. I don't know what's a red, green candle, whatever. But I think that correlation with, okay, I can make it work using numbers, right? If I say lose 20%, I will sell my position, not because I don't know what the chart is telling me back then, right? But just because I know 20% is a lot or whatever for my investment. So I think that kind of played out because my mentality was always about numbers, ROIs. That's like, and my family and and my dad is also big into investments and finance, and that's what he actually does for work.
Okay.
Finance. He's into finance, big time. Yeah, so he's so I always have learned about numbers from him and in investing. So
Okay.
that's, I think, played a big role in my trading as well, because it's a game of numbers at the end of the day. That's
Makes
what
sense.
you know.
So that brings me into the next thing that I want to like kind of loop into this, right?
Hmm.
Which I've never asked you before either. It's kind of funny, but have you ever tried to code any sort of like trading algorithm? Like, because back in the day, you said you didn't know what the charts meant. You were just buying it to buy it. But knowing you, I feel like you were at least trying to pick something out of there or extract some data.
Yeah.
Was there any attempts at any type of algorithm
So
coding or anything?
yeah, I'm not gonna lie. We did something. Me and my buddy, we tried to basically build a bot
Okay.
back in the day. That was like 5 years ago when we were just doing some, but that was not really based on trading. We're just trying to like, well, most like buy sell. So yeah, we're trying to like basically we always, you should think about investing. Like trading just never came. I honestly I don't even know like what are options. I had no idea about options and all that. We just know, okay, buy this and sell this there. Like that's what we were trying to do, right? That's like literally buy sell, right? So we were trying to build a bot, but I don't know, it just didn't really work out. We had some code in there, but just didn't do what we were expecting it to do. So we kind of like just whatever, we'll just put our money in. So we never really followed up on that. But yeah, but we did try to code at that at one point. Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. Because
Yeah.
everyone always says like, the market makers or, the algos are out to get
Yeah.
you and like stop hunting and all these things. And
Automation. Yeah.
in my head, like I understand and know that there definitely are a ton of programs that run from an automated standpoint.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, like they're still being programmed by a human at the back end level. So it's like now I get to ask someone that can
Yeah.
do the coding and actually like whether that's
Absolutely. I agree with you. And I'm a big believer, and even in general life, I'm a big believer in automation, right? As much as I can automate my stuff, good. But with my trading and investments, it's something different. You know why? Because I understand it is done by a human, but imagine this, and I kind of think about risk, right? Any one mistake in the code, and that has happened, by the way, to a lot of these different software engineers that I know, not my friends, but acquaintances, some wrong line in the code, and they lost a lot of money just because that's can happen. Like that can
yeah.
easily happen because you're a human. You can make a crazy error or whatever, like intentional, like unintentional mistake. And then what you see is, oh shit, I was not looking and I lost a lot of money because maybe you don't have a stop loss or whatever happened. I don't know in the script, right? Because we usually write the scripts, right? Like, because
Mhm.
that's how it works. But so that's why I kind of do these things self because I like that. Uh, it only probably in this, I know maybe other software engineers are probably going to hate me or for like, this guy doesn't make sense, but I don't think, I think if you really want to learn, you should just spend your time rather than just automating it and just, I don't know.
What
That's
and,
my belief.
and the question becomes is what do you automate if you don't actually know what
What
you're supposed to do?
exactly? Like,
Like
what are you doing?
and I brought that up to bring it up now is like now because of the success you've had and that the things in which you see and how to read charts now, your ability to write code for what you want it to do now is far superior than it
Yeah.
was 5 years ago. So,
100%.
so with that, let's bring it into you've been trading for about 2.5 years.
Yeah.
How'd the beginning start?
Oh my God. Yeah, it's funny. So I started in literally life like 2020. Well, here's the thing. I started in late 2020.
Okay.
But the thing is, I traded for like 2 months and I just didn't like it. I'm like, I don't know, I don't like it. So I stopped it. I was like, nah,
Like
it's just
penny
not,
stocks or
yeah, like the penny
okay.
stocks.
So
And
just dabbling with like a couple $1,000s.
yeah, well, more than that. And I think that was a mistake. uh, so I basically stopped it. I was like for 2 months, I think I lost some amount and I just like, oh, no, it's not my thing. I'm not going to do this. I'm just going to keep investing in my tech stocks. Like, that's a little bit more stable to me. Slow returns, but at least I'm making money every year, right? I like that. So
Yeah.
anyway,
It's a good thing.
Fast forward, I think 2021, 2022, when I kind of, okay, I'm like, you know what? I saw, I think Umar for the first time on like YouTube or Instagram. I think that's everybody kind of starts with him or whatever. For some reason, he has a big following or whatever it is, right? I'm like, okay, well, what is this SPY? Like, what is this option trading? Like, I don't know. He was talking about like, basic 0 days to expiration. I was like, well, let me take a look at that, right? SPY. And then I followed some of these guys, and I started to just kind of like dabble with like Thinkorswim platform, TD Ameritrade. Just basically did my own research and did my whole research through like platforms, kind of like, but really didn't know how to trade though. That's the point. Just okay, install Thinkorswim, deposit like freaking that. And again, I'm being honest because these are the things that I did, and I don't want people to do that. So those are mistakes, right? That can help people like just to avoid them, right? Doesn't matter how much money you have, but just making sure that trading is very risky when you don't know what you're doing. Like it just, you can lose everything, right? So
Yeah. Especially with zero DTEs is even
that
easier.
was so deposited I think 100K in my Thinkorswim.
You deposited 100K?
100K.
Okay.
I think it was a little bit more than that. It was like 110, 112K. Yeah, 112K. And then I'm a kind of person, I don't like to blame people because I'm the one pressing the button. So if it's my mistake, I don't know what I'm doing. I just follow these people on Instagram, Rippy God, and other kind of people that do pretty much primarily are very expert at SPX, right? They're very good with SPX, right? So I didn't even do SPY. I just did SPX right off the bat.
So you started off with SPX
Started
options.
with SPX. And I think some people from MLT know that because I did share that with them a while ago. Did SPX for about 8 months. If I saw a red candle, I'll just take puts and then it'll turn into green. I'll sell. Then so because I didn't know how to read charts. I was just trying to, I'm like, okay, well, this is a red candle. So it means again, I was also like learning on the side, okay, like what it is, like what exactly it is, like how a candle is formed and blah, blah. So those are the mistakes I did. And I think first year I lost like 100K on SPX.
Okay.
Yeah. So the account was pretty much empty at that point.
Was there any, and I mean, obviously it's not a laughing matter, but like it's kind of the norm, right? Everyone, and eventually everyone looks back and they're just kind of like, yeah, I did a little something stupid along the way.
Yeah.
Was there any point in that where it was like, now I'm at 50, like let me pause and just see like something's not working here? Was there
Yeah.
any point along that way, or what was the emotions going in that?
Because of my aggressive personality, there were days, I think in SPX, I made 25,000 one day. And I just got lucky, right? Because that's what happened. And that's what I want to address, honestly. Because again, first year of trading, 5 months, didn't know how to read charts, just checking things. For example, that kind of dump we had today, I think we had dump one day, SPX put printed, made like $25,000. So my balance was kind of like on and off every time. Okay, I would lose like 5K, 6K, 8K. And my size was, of course, I didn't know about anything about the size, like the, which we will talk about later, like the proper position sizing, what's a setup, what's a chart. Didn't know how to do that. Was learning on YouTube on the same, just watching these videos and, blah, 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 time frames and all that kind of stuff. So to answer your question, and I think that was also the mistake because in the back of my head, I was like, well, I can always add more money. So let me just continue playing with it and see what happens. And I was like, okay, this is my account. This is kind of my, I don't want to say like a play account, but let's just see what can I do with this. But at the end of year one, I had cleared that account completely. All SPX. I only traded SPX. Like that is it. Not even SPY. So that's
It's so crazy to me because like I hardly trade SPX. Like at a very, I mean they're just, I mean it's going from 0 to 100, especially as like a beginner, right? Like I think it would be safe to say like I would never tell anyone to start in SPX.
Never, because I didn't understand the thing, and that's what I think every new trader now. I mean, I still call myself new, but it's only been 2.5 years, but I'm still calling myself new. I'm not like, an expert or anything like that, but by any means. But anytime a new person starts, the objective is I'm gonna make money quick, right? That's what the whole mindset is. And that is wrong. That's what my mindset was. Oh, well,
What's the name? Day trading. Like you're supposed to make money today.
Right. So that was my mindset. I'm like, listen, investing, I'm doing good. I made a lot of money over the past 5-10 years. They have yield me crazy returns, 500%, 800% on my long term, just for a few stocks. But I feel like with this day trading, I can make that amount in like a week or 2 weeks. Let me buy with SPX, because that's what people used to do. They used to put in like, I bought this for 3.8, I sold for 11, I sold for 12. I'm like, it's like $1,000 in like one contract. Let me buy 50. So yeah, with no information, just not having a system, and just with no proper management of anything. Just basically just going to I feel like going to a casino is actually much better than not knowing like what to do. You know?
Okay, fair enough.
Just, yeah.
So, all right, so we started with penny stocks, moved
Mm-hmm.
up to SPX,
Yep.
and then at the end of that first year, and basically the account was blown.
Blown.
What was your thought process? Because you quit on the penny stocks like after 2 months.
Yep.
So what was the thought process then at the end of that year? Now the account's basically at zero. SPX is not your friend. Where are you at?
So at that point, I think it was 2022 and a half, or 2022 mid July, August. I still remember that time, because I think it was July 2022, right? So my kind of personality is never give up kind of a personality, right? That's, I know I kind of gave up with the penny stocks because I just didn't really enjoy them. Like I didn't enjoy it, right? Like it was like,
Okay.
okay, like it's not my thing. Like I don't feel it, right? With options, I still got that thrill. And in my head, and at that point, the problem was that I was watching too many videos, too much information out there from like different people,
Okay.
that I do stress about not to do that. It's too much information out there. Follow a very selective plan, selective people that you really can take stuff from, and which we'll probably like talk about later. So at that point, I was not giving up because I had learned about options in that year of losses. I kind of learned, okay, this is not what I should be doing, right? This is not right. Also watching stuff, kind of getting familiar with the charts. Okay, there's a 5 minute chart. That's what I used to trade from, by the way. I didn't know the concept of MTFA, which you taught me. Exactly.
So just
Strictly
a 5 minute chart.
5 minute. And I would see a 5 minute candle going up, and I'm like, wait, why are we getting a rejection? It's uptrend. Hardly I knew, because daily and weekly are a downtrend, dude. So right, and like that's the whole thing, right? So that time, like July 22 and 2022, I started with IBKR. People were talking about interactive brokers. I'm like, you know what? Let me just start with a new broker, new charm, new luck. Maybe it's gonna help me. I deposited like 50,000 there,
Okay.
uh, which was also gone. Just so you know, at the end of end of that year, Feb 2023, that was also gone.
Was that still SPX?
No, 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 no. I did not trade SPX after that. No,
Okay.
I trade SPX. I stopped doing SPX. I didn't even trade SPY. I didn't even trade. I did day trade some QQQs. And
Okay.
I kind of like focused on names then. So for example, Tesla, I should trade Tesla a lot. And Nvidia here and there, but I would say because Nvidia was still cheap back then. If you know, until October 22nd, everything was really cheap. Like the market was dumping hard, right? So I actually did make some good money during that time. But the problem was I kept on shorting after
Mm.
that. And the market just pumped out of
Yeah.
nowhere. I kept on shorting. And again, because maybe you can call me lucky, right? That's why, again, my chart reading wasn't good. I was just looking at the 5 minute. Sure, we had a massive drop and I would make a lot of money on that, right? So I was doing that on these particular names, right? But no, I did not trade SPX. And I'm very proud to say I haven't traded SPX since then.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very
Well,
nice.
maybe one time. I did one time. I think this year, one time, but that's it. I have not touched SPX because it's just too
Little PTSD.
it's too traumatizing for me. Even though I know, yeah, sure, I can make a lot of money, but now my strategy is different. I focus on risks now and not how much I'll make.
Okay. I like that.
Yeah.
So, all right. So we're a year and a half, give or take, in. We've blown up 2 accounts.
Don't do accounts. I think it was 130K total.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where do we go from there? What's the next step?
So that I stopped trading for like, I think 2, 3 months, and I got to know Jake
Okay.
through Instagram. And I'm like, who's this guy, right? Saw his videos, and I kind of liked just how he really taught things on Instagram. Used to have his free videos, he still does. And I saw, well, he's teaching a course. He's teaching, so just talked to him, got enrolled in his course. I'm like, you know what? I need to learn this stuff. I cannot just keep wasting money, right? My point is, it doesn't matter how much you have. You're wasting money. Like this is your hard-earned money. You can use it somewhere else. I don't know. I can buy some properties abroad or whatever, somewhere. Right? I mean, right? So I got in touch with Jake, and I took his mentorship. I think it was the Mastermind 7. Yeah, I was a Mastermind 7 student.
Okay.
And then from him, I got to basically learn about you. When I learned some levels and how charts work, the multi-time frame analysis, and this is how charts work. I never even looked at daily, weekly, even hourly before. I'll be super honest with you guys. But just 5-minute chart, I'm like, what was I doing? Like what was I thinking? My whole every screen was like Tesla 5 minute, Nvidia 5 minutes, AMD 5 minutes. That's what I primarily trade. Meta 5 minutes is, But I took so I took Jake's Mastermind 7, learned how to read charts, and then I got to know, because he talked about you in his courses and in his, which is so nice, right? Because I think you guys are also friends, right? So he talked about you, and he got to learn the levels from you. So you were the levels OG here. I'm like, okay, well, let me see who's this guy, Eric, right? So I scrolled through your Instagram, and I think that's when I joined your Discord, and we got in communication. I'm like, you know what? I want to learn from you. I want to see what I can do with this. So this was, now I'm talking about August or September, like literally, it was like last year, August 2023.
So it hasn't been a year yet.
And until August 2023, I think I already mentioned, I was still down $120,000.
So you joined
Jake, I think I joined in July.
So it was June for
yeah, I think it was somewhere around that. It was like June, June, I think June 2023. It was Jake's,
June 4th.
Right? Yes.
I had it pulled up here so I could pull the date just in case.
Wonderful. No, wonderful. I think I think it was around that time. Yeah, correct.
Okay. So we now are refunding our account. Like we've taken some mentorships.
I switched back to Thinkorswim.
Okay.
I was just trying to just like play with these accounts, really. I'm just trying to play with these executions and fills. And I knew that it doesn't matter. Like what you use, just matters what you really do, like what you really know and how you trade, right? But then I again started a new account with a new name. I'm like, you know what, this time I'm going to start with a new profile. Maybe the new name is going to be a lucky charm for me. Something. So Angad Stocks. Okay, let's do that. Kind of has a little kick to my name. Started that, put another like $50,000 in there, and then I got started in I think July or August of 2023.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how's that been?
So since August, the journey, I'm not gonna lie, after I joined Jake's mentorship, because then I learned how to read charts. Like that's when I was like, oh my God, this is crazy. Like what I was doing was wasting money. I should have done this like a year ago. And you learn from your mistakes, but these mistakes costed me like 120 grand. I mean, that's a lot of money, right? That's insane. So since then, what happened was a couple months, I would say for 2 months, I used to size very small because I had learned about position sizing, about risk management, which he talked about in his classes, right? We will also cover that you talked about in your classes, which we kind of, which also established. I'm like, okay, well, like the way that I was doing was wrong, right? So I started that account. And I think I was still down 5,000 or 6,000 even after taking the course, just because it's a new system, it's a new strategy. I'm like, okay, I don't know what's happening. Like, okay, this is pullback on the daily, okay, but the weekly is an uptrend. You still kind of like connect the dots, right? It's not easy.
It takes some time.
It took me time. I'm going to be very upfront about it. It's not like, after like day one, I was like profitable. No, I was not. I think 2 months I was struggling. But the good thing was I kept my risk in check. This is very important. Like I was not allowing myself to lose, say, like 500 a day or 1,000 a day or whatever that amount. Everything is like $500-$600 a day. That's it. If I lose 500, I'm done for the day. That's my max stop loss for the day, because I have learned that based on account size, right? Yeah. Based on that, before I didn't even know what's the account size. Oh, just play, continue, buy more, sell more, right? That's like a freaking casino, right? No, it's not. That's the whole thing that I was doing wrong for years. But for I think 2 years, right? So then I started, then I think I was still down 5 or 6K. Then I learned about you and then I joined your course.
Okay.
That's when I think I joined MLT Mentorship 5. Yeah, I
Mhm.
think it was fifth,
You
5.
you were the hype man in that class.
I appreciate that. That's just, yeah. So that's when I got to know you and we got in touch and I joined your course, apparently. Yeah.
Okay. And then
So
so from there we're back on toss. We're down a couple grand.
yeah, I think it was like
Um,
I think it was like 41,000. Yeah. It was like $41,000
okay.
yeah, left.
And then
And then
take me home. Where are we at now?
I got lucky. I'm kidding. Well, I didn't get lucky, but then so the thing is, because of course, because of the combination of what I learned, like from Jake and from you, especially from your classes when you talked about these indexes a lot, which I totally loved it, by the way. Back in the day, I never even, you have to be honest to yourself. Like, I didn't even check ES, NQ. I didn't even know what was that, to be honest with you. I just checked SPY, NQ. Okay, whatever it is, it's fine, right? These are the internal markets. I get it. I get the gist of it, right? Fine, whatever. So now with the combination of you two, with especially what you taught in the class about like levels and not just the levels, it's higher time frames. Focus on that. See what they're doing, right? Based on that levels, you have a system. You take you take your entries in 2 minutes, 5 minutes, based on the higher time frame. Cannot emphasize on that. Like cannot emphasize enough on that, right? So now I have a system. Okay. I was like, man, this is good. Like I think now I know what to do, right? So I started with that. I think like $41,000, and I think end of the year I think doubled that account. So it was sitting at around $87,000
Nice. In about
by
4 months,
December.
give or take.
By December, yeah, I was at 87 because it was my birthday, and I still remember it was talking to my wife. I'm like, hey, I made like 40 grand. She's like, well, I thought that you were losing. I'm like, yeah, I was.
I'm a new man.
Yeah. So I think in December, I think I had doubled that account. And usually what I do is I have a practice because also I think you also talked a lot about it, and Jake as well. Like, I'll just keep withdrawing your profits, man. It doesn't matter. It's just like building that habit, right? You don't want to, because the more money you have, you will trade again. You can go on that crazy tilt because we're humans at the end of the day, right? So
Yeah.
we're humans. Yeah. So since then, I mean, this year so far is the best.
Yeah.
Yeah, this year is the best. Yeah, I made pretty good money in March. That was my best month.
Nice.
Yeah.
So let's talk about this for a second, though, on a money standpoint. Do you focus on the money now, or is it the process? Is it the setup? Is it the risk before the money side of it? What's that look? What is your day-to-day going into a trade mental
Yeah.
approach mindset look like?
So the good thing is again that I learned like from you guys. I'll say from you, Jake, and also Zach, who was also one of your
Mhm.
students, who's doing really really amazing, and he
Yeah.
talks obviously amazing about you since he was your
He's
student, right? So,
he's eating some wagyu over there now.
oh, he is doing it totally. Yeah, absolutely. Uh, so the thing that I've learned from you guys is like focus on the system, focus on the process, right? Like do not focus on the outcome, right? And that's what I was used to do before. Like, what's the outcome? Now these days, the good thing is that I focus on risk and I focus on my A plus. Like, if I know that this thing is A plus in my playbook, so I have a little playbook that I have made just for myself, which obviously consists of these patterns and stuff or these strategies that I have learned from you. Okay, if this follows my criteria, I'm going to take a trade. And if not, for example, today I took 0 trades, even though I know that the market was dumping and whatnot, but it was not in my plan, right? And I'm totally cool with that because it was not in my plan. So now I focus on my game plan. Like I have a game plan now before even I enter the market in the, like in the pre-market session or whatever it is. Even sometimes intraday, I can kind of make a plan on the fly, right? Like if it makes sense to me, but now I focus on the risk. That's my point. Like before, I never even cared about risk. I'm like, oh, you know, 20 contracts, 30, whatever. I'm like, oh, shoot. But now I think about it. And if I lose it, it's fine because it's an expected loss, right? Like that's what I was expecting to lose anyway. So I think that kind of mentality, though, that shift in the mentality, which took me a lot of time, by the way, it took me 2 years to really change that. I'm still working on it, right? This is an ongoing thing, that you just try to become better, right? But now I focus on the risk. So I do not focus on the money. Sure, if well, I'm a little guilty about that. Sometimes when I'm checking my P&L, which I should not, right? I'll see a crazy dollar amount of like, I'll take it. If it's in 5 minutes, I'll take it, right? I mean, here's the thing is because, there are
It's
pros and cons to it,
it's
right?
tough not to sometimes, right?
It's tough. And that's the thing. And I'm like, I don't know. I was like, I don't know how Eric does that. Like how you just continue holding your trade, knowing that you're up a certain crazy dollar amount, right? And then how do you still be like, yeah, I'm still going to continue holding. I think that's what I'm practicing now by just holding my runners. I never did that before as well. I just sold my entire position, whatever it is, made 3,000, 5,000. It's kind of like averaging per day now around $2,000 to $4,000 a day,
Okay.
uh, risking about say 1,000 a day. That's my stop
Okay.
loss. Like $1,500 is what I risk every day now to make potentially maybe 2,500, maybe 3,000, maybe 5,000, right? Just depends on the setup and then depends on that R2R, right?
Okay.
So, but my focus is on the risk, as you saw, as you heard, that I'm risking 1,000 to 1,200 a day. That's what I'm focusing on. Now, if the market is like willing to give me more, I'll take it,
Yeah.
right? But I think that changed the whole game. That, well, of course, strategy, learn from you. I kind of like modified a little bit here and there, but of course, the price action and the levels and the higher time frame, that's the key component, right? That you can't really run away from because that's the entire
Yeah.
meat of it, right? That's the entire meat, really. It is. Uh, and
Once
then,
you see that and how things react and move across the
yeah,
board, it's you can't deny it. Like you're gonna see it whether you want to or not at that point, and it's like, oh, this makes sense. Like
yeah,
it should be doing this thing or not.
yeah, no, absolutely. You will actually see it. And once you see it, it's like hard to unsee it, right? It's like, okay,
Mhm.
I saw this setup playing out before. The good thing that I'm doing these days is that I know that every trade's outcome is not certain. It's not the same outcome, even if it's the same setup. And that's what I've taught myself. Again, all taught by you, in the, like in the classes that, hey, just focus on that, like focus on the risk and just making sure that outcome is not everything. Like you have to just be prepared for anything. Like anything can happen. You just got to be prepared. I think the whole mindset shift, it's just a game of total mindset. Like literally like that. I cannot focus, like cannot stress enough about that. Like you got to focus on that. Anything can happen. Don't take things for granted. Even if it's an A plus setup, A plus setup, it has the potential to fail.
They still fail sometimes. Yeah. Every setup has to fail eventually, right? Because of the way in which charts move and work together.
Yeah.
But it made me think of something else to kind of bring in with this is so your bad habits and back in the day, if you will, were sizing and being aggressive,
Yeah.
right? One, is that still a problem? And then two, what additional, revenge trading? Like if you do take your
Yeah.
planned $1,000 loss, but it like ticks you out and then
Uh,
starts going back in the direction, like, are you quick to jump back in? Because I know your personality a bit, and it's like
uh,
I could very much see you being the type of person that it comes down and it ticks you out and it
yeah.
bounces back up 50 cents and you're like, damn it, and you get back in.
Yeah.
Is, am I right on that? Like, is there
So
what struggles have come from that?
yeah, so there are not a lot. There were instances when I did that, like when I say jump back in, and it used to bite me again, right? And I'm talking about like starting like this year, I think Jan or February, I think this happened. So eventually I stopped doing that. So
Okay.
even if I know that I'm aggressive, and so here's the thing, right? Because I had a lot of bad habits. I think like every other trader, when you start with, and that's the best thing about day trading that I truly adore. Like it will tell you your flaws
Yeah.
because because in a real person, in my real life, sorry, I'm the same way. I'm aggressive, as in, okay, not in a bad way. Aggressive isn't a good, like I'm like very ambitious, like I'm hungry, like for
Mhm.
my career, for my life, like for my family, like I'm an aggressive person. Like I want things to just get done, right? This is my kind of personality, right? So the trading taught me, hey, you're impatient, you're aggressive, right? Even if I can show you here, which is really, really funny, but my wallpaper right now shows uh
Pa-
patience.
Patience
This,
and discipline.
It's right here, right? Because I had to always like remind myself of this. Like, listen, man, you got to be patient and you got to be disciplined, right? So those bad habits are not completely gone, which is a true statement here, but half of them are gone. Not a lot. It's going to take me time, right? I mean, like the person I am right now, built with all these habits, it's hard to change them overnight or even a year. It's less because it takes time, right? And that's what I tell some of these other new traders, like, it's going to take you time. So now I see myself not forcing trades. Amazing. Like these past 2 months, 3 months, talk to you, talk to Zach. All right. And like, these tricks have kind of helped me, like, not to force trades and not to take those unnecessary trades that that not really worth it. Right.
Yeah.
So why do just take it? And even if it goes in a direction, it's fine. There's always going to be a next trade, right? That's what I've learned now. And I can't believe that I'm saying this. And honestly, this is like to all these new traders or even to the experienced traders. Like I had a lot of bad habits, like a lot, very aggressive. Used to trade at the open without even considering or any confirmations, like 9:30 a.m. EST, enter a trade, 9:31 without really confirmations, right? And sure, they will work like 20% of the time, but maybe it's just luck. Am I really following a system? Am I really following the trend? Am I really doing what I am supposed to do, right? Focusing on the higher time frames, focusing on the levels, which are our key, right? How do we take a trade? And most of my trades, by the way, that were taken and were stupid losses were when I was not following the levels. When I was following the levels, literally pretty much 80 like 90% of the trades were actually successful trades because they were off the level or of a certain criteria that we can talk about, like basically what I see, right? And so those bad habits are going away. I'm using that controlled aggression to where I need to, right?
Yeah.
And sizing correctly based on the setup, based on the day, based on when should I set up heavy, like when should I size up heavy? When should I just take it easy, maybe size up small today, see what happens, kind of just like, check the market and go on from there.
Okay. Any any preference from a short versus long perspective in terms of which one you're better at, which one you're worse at, holding them?
Yeah, that's a really good question, by the way. So I now kind of most of my trades are with the trend. And when I say with trend, I'm talking about higher time frame because this is what I've learned. Like treat higher time frame as shorter time frames. Like treat them as like that, right? So trade accordingly, right?
Mhm.
So based on the market, we are still technically for some names, you're in an uptrend for a year. Like really, it's just some pullback, sure, daily pullback or a weekly pullback, but that's pretty much. So I see myself taking a lot more long trades and being more successful there just because I'm following higher time frames, right? Sure, in the shorter time frame, you can scalp here and there, but I'm not trying to take trades that I know are with me because I want the more juice out of them, if that makes sense. So because if I know that this daily chart can flip to an uptrend, I can get a massive move in my favor. Right. So I'd rather wait for that rather than take one day a quick scalp for puts. Sure, I can take it. And I do take it here and there sometimes with varies less size. And this is what I was talking about. When do I size heavy? When do I size less? Right. Shorter term pullback, sure, I can size small because technically we're a larger time or a larger frame uptrend. I'm not going to size heavy on that. I may not even take that trade. Just really depends on the day, right? But mostly I go with the trend, taking longs for a lot of these names. Like Nvidia was long pretty much all the past year. Like there was no need to do short. I mean, you can, but why stress? Or like why to take unnecessary stress over Nvidia shorts when like that trend is up to
It broke trend once.
yeah, yeah,
It broke daily trend once in the last 8 months. It was
yeah,
like so, and even then it broke it for like what 3 days, and then we were challenging it again, and
yeah.
the bounce. I mean, since then the bounce was I think 816.50s was the level in there. So yeah, it's I like that answer a lot. Just from a so I guess that would go to say like you're comfortable with shorts then,
Yeah.
right? Because most people are either better at longs or better at shorts, but I guess I would say you're comfortable with that. So meaning that when and if the market does flip, if we get a whatever the event would be that caused us to go into a massive downtrend and SPX goes to 2,500 or whatever it is, right? You're gonna flip to mostly puts at
Absolutely.
that point and be comfortable with it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. My only thing is that, like I said, I do some counter trends here and there. Like the reversal trades or what if I see a strong reject from a level, right, from the levels that you taught, obviously, I don't mind taking a short, with smaller size, right? But mostly, most of my trades are with the trend. I would say that's where I would size up because I know I have a good chance of daily, weekly, if we get, like a daily buy setup, or that's one of my favorite things, daily buy. Or, oh my God, I've made good money on those things. I've made good money on those things. I think that was in March
Nice.
on some stock trade. I don't know. Yeah. Yeah. That's,
So let's talk about that for a second. And just in terms of numbers,
yeah.
this year
Yeah.
you made a lot, six figures,
Like on 200K.
200K.
Yeah.
Nice. I like it. So the
Yeah.
losses, if my
Like,
math is right, the losses in which you had previously have now been erased.
yeah. All the losses are gone. I think I had lost like 120, 125, 128 was the total when I was like, oh shit, I was like, this, I'm just not gonna do this. This is not for me. But then, you just realize that all you need are three things. A, you need a mentor. Like you should never try these things on your own. That's why I loved your analogy when you talked about that hot stove analogy. That's what I was doing all this time, right?
It's it's so funny, but like analogies, they make so much sense. It's like
Does
you
100%.
can
So
relate to them. What like no matter what level you're at, in some way,
like,
shape, or form,
yeah,
you're going to relate to an analogy.
100%. So yeah, so those losses are already wiped. And I was starting to be, I would say, profitable. I think starting last year, September, August 2023. So it's only 8 months. In 8 months, I made like around $240,000
Nice.
from trading. Yes, from option trading. I solely, again, like I said, focus on options. I don't like futures myself. That's just me. And that's a part of my personality. It's not that you cannot. Yeah, sure. Our strategy can work in any sphere. That's what I like, and I kind of want to focus on that. I have tried your higher time frame plus levels in the Indian stock market because my family and my brother does the Indian stock market. Uh, and he was like, "Is there any way I can take the levels course?" I'm like, "Yeah, you can join the class if you like." But I did some trade on the Indian stock market 2, 3 months ago. Works flawlessly. It works the same. It's like opening price, you have your levels. I'm like, this is like magic. It just works like in every freaking market. You could just try it and it'll actually work. So
That's
also
awesome.
make some money in the Indian stock market as well. If you want to add that, that's for like another 30,000 because it works in a very different way. I don't size there. But even making 30,000 in an Indian stock market in 3 months, that's pretty dope, in my opinion. Because that's a lot of money in India.
Nice. So I remember we talked about that before, and I mean, just the fact that it does translate just from a charting perspective across everything. So have you now applied levels slash multi-time frame trend, all that to everything in which you do from crypto to options, all that?
Let me tell you, I did that on crypto on a stock called RNDR, referred by Zach. So I would definitely
Okay.
uh, thank thanks to him for that if he's gonna watch it. RNDR was a crypto, and I applied our MTFA levels, everything on there, and I banked on it. And I played that multiple times on the hourly buy setup, daily buy, weekly buy, right? And yeah, you can see that. Yeah, I have made a really good money on that.
So you owe Zach another steak or two.
Ah, tell him that. He's gonna ask for more. No, no, he's a good guy. Yeah, definitely him for sure. For the names, yes, 100%.
Very nice. Well, let's let's see. Are we running low on time? Let's close it out. You were mentioning the three things in which people need. The one was mentor. So let's close it out with
Yeah,
those on God's three things every trader needs to know.
my three things are: number one, find a mentor. And I would talk about you. If people can join you, your classes, that'll be great because I kind of want to elaborate on that as well. I think I didn't get a chance to do that because I think your mentorship was very, very amazing because it was very elaborate. Like you talked about indexes, you talk about divergence, which is amazing, right? I didn't know a thing about index back in the day. So I did not even know about YM RTY, to be honest with you. I know small cap, this RTY. So you taught a lot of these things in detail. Like your classes were like 3 hours long, right? Some people were like, "Can we stop, please? It's too much information." I was kidding, but it was amazing. It was so much, right? It was amazing. And then you also talked about levels, higher time frames, buy setups, sell setups, entries, basically a strategy, a technical strategy to really how charts move, and that's how they move. This is just, I mean, I've been now doing this for, of course, just 8 months properly, but now see, yeah, that's how they move. It's just so. My number one tip: find a mentor. I'll just obviously refer you if they can, right? I think your next mentorship also starts next week, so people can join or
Shameless plug.
yeah, absolutely. So definitely having a mentor is number one thing. Do not start this on your own. No matter how many YouTube videos you can see, do not start this on your own. That's my number one tip. Imagine I could have saved my 100, like those pains, right? Like who would want those kind of pains? Like A, it's financial. B, it's mental, emotional. Because it did take a toll on my health. So definitely I would say number one, probably going to reiterate 100 times, find a mentor. Eric Marcus is your guy. Follow because that's how charts move. Number two is, I would say, I know probably maybe it's a cliche, right? But people talk about it. Like if you're not a patient person or a disciplined person in your real life, that can affect your trading. You got to work on those things. You got to work on your discipline. And for me, the good thing was I'm always a fitness guy. I love fitness. I lift a lot of weights. I think I showed my guns just 30 minutes before. So I would say do something in your daily life activity, any kind of activity. It could be gym, it could be boxing, it could be, I don't know, swimming, could be whatever, right? That you could just do some activity that basically helps you with your mindset, it kind of calms you down, right? Even say you're an aggressive personality like me. I was aggressive. I'm still aggressive. I'm not going to do that, but in a good way. Now I am kind of using that aggression where it needs to be, right? Like
it's focused
aggression, right? Like exactly. So do that. Find an activity, right? Because that will help you to actually relate with your trading, right? And the third tip I would say is do not do this alone. Meaning, find a trading community. MLT Discord, best group ever, I would say. Join that. I'm a pretty active member on there as well. Not just because we are here right now, but I found a lot of amazing, smart people in our group talking about trading, talking about mindset, talking about psychology of trading. And when you have a trading community like this, a short community, not a crazy 5,000, 10,000 people, that's also noise to me, right? I don't usually participate there. But find that community. Now, where you find it, it's your choice. But find that community of people, because you know what, growing alone is fine, but growing together, that is success. That is the thing you will enjoy. When you see yourself and your others, like your 4, 5, 7 people other in the group together, when you all are growing, that is a different level of success. So do not do this alone. Find a community of like-minded people. Maybe you guys go to the gym together. Maybe you guys have like these kind of things that this just excites you, and everybody's on the same mindset. So do that. And I think those are the 3 things that I would just like, yeah, those 3 things helped me become a better trader. Now, not just a better trader, but also, like a better human.
I like that. I'll take that. One psychology tip.
One psychology tip.
Yeah.
There's so many. I'm just trying to find what's the perfect psychology. Psychology is like, don't train your mind first before you go in the markets. Train your mind. Now, okay. Meaning that whatever, because the thing is, it's a game of mindset, right? You have to train your mind and not focus on the money. You have to focus on this success every single day. And it's not about, hey, I made like 5,000 today and I, did that today. No, that's not success to me. Like this is not what I'm talking about. Psychology part is okay, like that you're actually learning something new every day. Like you're like doing something better. Stick to your plan, right? And even if you miss a trade or two, your mind should be okay with that, right? Once you train your mind to work to operate that way, you're going to be a winner in this game. I can guarantee you that, because now I operate it that way. Like today I missed today I didn't take any trades. It's like zero trades for me, by the way, because it was not in my game plan, right? And guess what, I'm completely okay because I trained my mind that way. So that's a psychology tip I'm going to give you, that be okay. It's fine, because there's going to be like 1,000 other trades. Focus on the next trade. That's it. Focus on the next trade. Stop really worrying about, oh, I should have done this. I should. No, there's no should, would, could, whatever. Like we always say that in trading, right?
Yeah.
Just focus on that. Train your mind and leave it. Just like leave everything aside. Just focus on the mind and use that power in the market, and then see results. It's gonna be unreal, and you guys are gonna see it.
I like it. You heard it here first. Well, thank you guys so much for tuning in and watching. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a comment down below. I'll drop your socials in the description and all that stuff below if you guys want to reach out to him. If you're in the MLT Discord, then obviously you can tag him and reach out in there. And once again, I appreciate you so much for your time coming on. And yeah, it's been fun.
Yeah, thank you so much, Eric, for your time. I appreciate you, and I'm so glad to be here again. Yeah.
Thanks, sir.